I want to try. Well, let's reset. How many times are y'all gonna reset? Will y'all blow on the thing already? Blow on it and put it back in the controller and get started, man. Y'all always claim y'all want to reset, but still do the same thing when you reset. Y'all never try nothing new. Y'all still do the same thing over and over. It's a cycle. Welcome to La Vida Rosa. I'm your host, Pinky, and today we're going to be talking about Married at First Sight. So if you'd like to see more, then just stay tuned. But before we begin, I would like for everyone to check out my website, lavidarosastyle.com, where you can find cute accessories like the ones I'm wearing right now. Like, comment, and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into this video. If y'all can hear the clicking from my fan, please ignore it. I'm burning up. I need it, or I'm just going to pass out right here on camera. Honestly, the episodes are repetitive, low-key, because we keep like getting beat over the head with the same information, but it's like we keep getting spoon-fed new information that makes the situation more and more heinous for some couples, you know what I'm saying? And for other couples, it's like, okay, why were you matched? Experts, why would you match these people? They have fundamental differences that would make them being together not feasible. They have like major deal breakers. If this stuff didn't come up during your process where you're supposed to be testing these people to see if they're good matches for one another, then y'all need a new test. I'm sorry, y'all been doing this for how long? 10 years? Y'all should have been perfecting this test over time. Y'all should be doing better background searches on people. I'm sorry, there's no way Chris should have made it through. You know why? Because y'all should have went and talked to his exes. Y'all should have talked to his family members. Y'all should talk to his friends, people that used to be friends with Chris. Y'all are putting people together essentially for life. I mean, I'm sure that's the best case outcome. Y'all want them to be married for the rest of their lives. So that means you have to do the due diligence that they should be doing. You're telling me that you have the intellect and the knowledge and the credentials to be setting me up with someone that I would truly be happy with. That means you need to make sure the family is a good family. That means you need to make sure their background, they have no criminal history. And maybe, I'm sure y'all check for that. I do a psych test. But y'all need to dig a little bit deeper, honey. Because if these people are putting, and I know this is a show. At the end of the day, this is a show and y'all want to make a show. And I get that. And these people sign on the dotted line knowing that y'all can edit this show to make them look like a villain. We know this is in the contract. Well, in case you didn't know, it is in the contract for them to be able to do that. So we get it. This is a show. But at the end of the day, we don't sign up to watch people get tortured now. Like that's kind of going a little bit too far. And yes, I'm talking about the Paige and Chris situation. But I'm also talking about people that are getting matched up, and one definitely wants kids and the other one don't know if they want kids. Like, come on now. And maybe during the process, the people are like, well, you know, I'm 50-50 about kids, and the other person is like, I'm dead set, I want kids. They don't need to be matched up with each other then. If one person is 50-50 and the other person really wants kids, that's not a good match. We saw that last season. But I also feel like they filmed these shows back to back. I feel like they filmed them too close back to back. So you can't learn from the mistakes of last season because you're already taping the new season. And so I don't know if you officially finish the last season before you start a new season. But maybe that's the reason why we're not getting the experts as much as we should be, because y'all are overlapping. I don't know. But it just seems like y'all are rushing these seasons. Therefore, you're not able to do a good job matching people, do a good job vetting people. I don't know. This is just some of the stuff I'm thinking about. I could just be totally off base. I could be even completely naive with saying any of this stuff, because y'all could be doing all this could be like a part of your sinister plan to make a good TV show. And I'm sitting up here, you know what I'm saying, actually thinking that maybe you are not doing that, you know? I'm sorry, y'all. I had to go on that little mini rant because, like, when I watched the show back to back to back to back, when I did my little catch-up special, it just made me see things differently when you watch things in like a marathon format. Y'all did not do a good job at all this season. Let's get into this episode. Let's start off with Jacob and Haley. I've never seen two people pretend so hard like they want to try. Like, I don't even think Jacob is in it. I know Haley ain't been in it since day 4. Jacob, I don't even think you are really into this. So why are y'all doing this? Are y'all going through the motions because y'all don't want to have to pay $50,000? Y'all, because it's just it's not curling over. First of all, Jacob looks so much better with a beard. Like, keep the beard. That is you, okay? You looking nice with that salt and pepper. You need to keep it. He meets up with Pastor Cal. Pastor Cal says, you know, they don't really know each other. And he said he truly wants to know what made her pull back in Vegas. Y'all consummated your marriage, and it seemed like right after that, things fell off. She wasn't feeling it, and she pulled back. And I wish she would stop dragging this whole situation along. Or at least be honest about that. Anyway, he said he's going to stick around. Haley, you know, once again, Dr. Pepper told Haley that they don't know each other. He's been in ATL for 10 years but won't open up about his experiences. And I'm thinking, well, maybe he's just boring and hasn't done much. Like, Haley seems like she's this person that likes to travel. She's like a daredevil. She likes to skydive and, you know, things like that. She likes to travel and go different places and try new things. He is not like that. He's not like you. So maybe he's like, the most exciting thing he's done is work on his house. That's what it seems like. He don't do much. He come home, shops for 80s memorabilia online. To fill up the rest of his spare time, he does things like create a beach in his backyard. He's not that type. And maybe you would have been the person to bring him out of his shell, but that's just not, he not that type of guy. He don't do stuff. Then Dr. Pepper told her, well, he's made changes for you, but you haven't made any for him. And Dr. Pepper pointed this out. It seems like you just wanted someone to drop into the husband role in your world, and that's not how this works. It seems like a few people on this show wanted that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just wanted somebody to, you know, okay, insert husband here, and I can still do things the way I used to do them. I just have a husband. That's not how that works. Both of y'all have to compromise and like tailor your world to their world. So then they meet up together, and she asked him why he never talks about the past 10 years. And he said his past 10 years became duller because his friends got married and had kids and left him behind. And you know what? That makes plenty of sense. Obviously, he wants to settle down because he wants to be able to like mingle with his friends. It's awkward being the single person in a room with a bunch of couples. You know what I'm saying? When they can relate on being married or having kids and you cannot. So I get that. I get why he's been by himself. He asked her, why do you need so much space? And she said, because I was in a controlling relationship before and she never wants to be in a controlling relationship again. He asked her, are you still letting that situation affect your actions? She probably is. That's probably why she's not willing to be vulnerable enough to, you know, see him for who he is. Because she doesn't want to get stuck in a relationship where she feels like she doesn't have any power. Possibly. Then she finally tells him that, you know, she tries to engage him and he doesn't really return the favor. And he says, well, it's because you didn't really seem like you wanted me to. And then she said when he did try, it was after fights and she was walking on eggshells, so she wasn't really able to be herself. They claim they want to try. Well, try. If y'all keep saying, oh, I really want to try, but y'all don't try. When she tries to engage you in conversation, you do not engage her back. Okay? When he tries to get closer to you, you need space. So if y'all gonna try or get off my TV screen, because I'm tired of it. Keep on talking about you want to try. Well, try. You ain't what are y'all trying? I want to try. Well, let's reset. How many times are y'all gonna reset? Will y'all blow on the thing already? Blow on it and put it back in the controller and get started, man. Y'all always claim y'all want to reset, but still do the same thing when you reset. Y'all never try nothing new. Y'all still do the same thing over and over. It's a cycle. let's go ahead and talk about Brianna and Vincent. She wanted to discuss finances, and he immediately looked very uncomfortable. That could have been editing, but he immediately looked like, oh, here we go, turning red. So she said he started his business in April, and so I believe we're in like August, September, I believe, for them. He eventually wants to buy a house, and she isn't the most frugal. So this is what they said even before they laid everything out. She wanted to lay everything out so they could see where their, finances are every month. Brianna spends $400 on hair and waxes. That's like $250 for her hair if she wants to get braids. And then I'm guessing like nails and waxes and things like that. And then she spends $400 on clothes per month. So she was willing to compromise to only spend $250 on clothes. And so then they were talking about how much they were going to spend per month on dates. He wanted to spend $200 a month, and she was like, that's just one date. Girl, that's an expensive date. Y'all don't have to do expensive dates all the time. Y'all can do inexpensive things. Y'all can, there's so many things y'all could do that are inexpensive. Look it up online. I'm sure y'all can Google it, and y'all can still have experiences together that doesn't require $200 per date, because that is a little bit excessive. But I understand where she's coming from as well. They didn't go through the courting process. She still wants that. She deserves that. So I do think that she deserves to have those nice dates as well. So they compromised on $350. The total at the end was $9,000 per month. That did sound like a lot, but I think that's for the two of them. I really need to know how things are being split before I can completely say, oh, you're doing too much, or whatever, because who's paying for what? From what I've been told, in Brianna's career, she brings in $100,000 a year. Let's just say that's the estimate. She feels like she works hard for her money. I feel like if she earns her money and that's what she wants to spend her portion of her money on, what is the problem? What's the problem? As long as she is putting some stuff up in savings, and they not living check to check or whatever, what's the problem with that? He feels like they should eat at home more, and I don't see anything wrong with eating at home, like on an everyday basis, eating at home. But I do think if you're the one who's saying y'all need to eat at home all the time, then you should be cooking some of the time as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're saying I want to eat at home, but then telling her she needs to cook. You're gonna have to take up some of the cooking then. You know what I'm saying? Especially since both of y'all work. Then he said if they have a house, they shouldn't have to go out as much. Now maybe y'all can cut the budget in half for going out all the time. Y'all can stay at home some of the time. Maybe y'all can entertain guests. But if that's something she wants to do, she wants to travel, she wants to get out the house, I feel like that's something that y'all should compromise on. Maybe half the time y'all could budget to stay at home, and the other half y'all could budget for your outings. Because she says she doesn't want to just come home every day after working a long day and just sit at the house. And I could understand that. Basically, she's living for the present and he's living for the future when it comes to money. She wants to, live life with her money and enjoy her money. And he wants to save because prepare a home for his children, and he wants to have children, and he wants to have, more than what he had. He seemed like he had humble beginnings, and he wants more for his kids. That's why he wants to save up so much. He also said he's spent a lot of money in the past on clothes and cars and things like that, and he realized they didn't make him happy, and he just, what he wants is to plan for the future. She says she gets that, but does that apply to her too? That comes back around, like, do I have to spend my money on that though? Like, you know what I'm saying? Can I just invest in the savings but still spend the money I make on what I like? I think she should be able to do that. So Vincent met up with Pastor Cal. He wanted him to bring up some ways that they are different. And he said she's assertive and wants things a certain way and can be narrow-minded when it comes to that. And he said his shortcomings is that he has a short attention span. The main thing is Vincent wants to sleep in longer, and she's an early bird, and he thinks she views him as lazy because he wants to sleep in. So later on when they talk about it, she says she feels you're more productive if you wake up early, and she wakes up early, so she wants him up with her. And he was like, well, is there a way we can compromise? And she was just like, well, go to bed a little earlier and you could wake up earlier and get off your phone at night, and it won't keep your mind, wandering, and you won't have to worry about it. And it's like, Brianna, that's not really a compromise. That's him doing what you want him to do. Like, I think as long as he's working, like he's actually working and he's actually bringing in an income, if he's driving around all day and he wants to stay up all night, he wants to sleep a little bit later in the day, he makes his own hours, I don't see anything wrong with that. And as long as he's not being lazy, and he's helping out around the house or whatever, what does it matter that he sleeps in a little bit later? You know what I'm saying? Like, that is coming off a little mommy-ish, like you trying to mother him a little bit. Pastor Cal basically was like, well, you need to not feel bad for sleeping in. Sometimes you have to do certain things for yourself. If you want to sleep in, you should sleep in. And I feel like Vincent should have told her right then and there, like, I'm going to sleep in. Like, this is not a discussion. Stop waking me up early, because I'm a grown man, and if I spend all day working, and if I want to stay up later and sleep in a little bit later, that's why I make my own hours. So then Brianna meets up with Dr. Pepper. They talked about children, and she's scared because he wants children sooner than she does. Like, he wants children within the next couple of years, and she wants to wait 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 years to have kids. She doesn't want to have kids so soon. It's scary for her because she has high blood pressure, and giving birth can be very dangerous and take a toll on her body because of that. And he may not understand how serious that is. And Dr. Pepper stressed to her that she needs to tell him how big of a fear that is for her. So she told him, and he was clearly frustrated. He was clearly not feeling her saying that. And he said, the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be. And it's like, Vincent, you don't get it. I think what Brianna was feeling as well, that she didn't communicate, maybe she didn't feel comfortable communicating on camera, is that black women at a much higher rate had fatalities during birth. And that's just a fact. Like, it's been an epidemic for black women during childbirth to lose their life. I'm thinking that's a part of it. At the end of the day, it's Brianna's body, and if she doesn't want to carry a child, that's on her. This could be a real deal breaker for them. You know what I'm saying? And, if she doesn't want to have kids naturally, there's always adoption. There's always surrogacy. There are so many kids that need a home. But, if they don't match up on that, like, they probably just need to say no on decision day, because he's going to resent her, and she's going to resent him for resenting her. Like, because that's her body. She's going to have to be the one to carry the child. So you can't be sitting up here being mad because somebody doesn't want to go through all this trauma. Let's talk about Clara and Ryan. Ryan sat down with Dr. Pepper, and he literally sat there and said he couldn't think of one challenge that him and Clara have. You couldn't think of one? Not one. He is in la la land. He literally is so self-involved and deluded that he cannot see that his wife is completely unhappy. Now, I do think a part of the problem is that his wife is not making it loud and clear, but he should still see it. I'm sorry, he's not paying attention to her at all. He's another one that just wanted to live the same way he's always lived, but just drop a wife into his lifestyle. Dr. Pepper alluded to him wanting to present their marriage as perfect, and I could see that too. I could see that being a part of it. He just wants to have a perfect presentation because he's like a perfectionist. But, sir, they have totally different views on religion. His parents are ministers, and they haven't discussed how that will affect their marriage in the future, how that will affect them when it comes to child rearing, which, will y'all ever get to child rearing? y'all can't even get to intercourse, baby. Like, yeah, that's a major thing. That's a deal breaker. I don't think they'll make it because of it, but y'all can't even get to that part of things. She asked about the lack of intimacy and how she feels about it. And he said, yeah, I probably should ask a little more. Yeah, that showed me he do not care. He don't care at all. And that's all I needed to hear, really. Clara, leave him. Leave him. And if you with him right now, you watch the episode, leave him. You see how he is. His emotional intelligence is on 0 with Clara. Clara talked with Pastor Cal and told him this is the best case scenario. This is a 10 out of 10. Like, are you keeping up this facade for him, or are you delusional as well? How do you think this situation is a 10 out of 10 and your needs are not being met? She says she loves him, but she doesn't want to ruffle his feathers. That's why she hasn't told him yet. And she's also worried that he's never going to fall for her. And it's like, girl, how can this relationship be that good and you're constantly holding back your feelings and tiptoeing around his? Like, how is this the perfect relationship? This just goes to show you her past relationships must have been awful for this to be her best one, because this one, you're not getting anything out of it. Pastor Cal said marriage can't be a 10 out of 10 if there's no real communication. Like, you're going to have some arguments. You're going to have some disagreements to see what your problem solving skills are. So then when they meet up with each other, he brought up intimacy. She said the more she brings it up, the farther she feels it gets pushed away. And he literally sat there and agreed with her. What are we doing here? And then she downplayed her feelings by saying she was a little bit frustrated, but she has respect for him. And I'm just thinking, girl, say it how you said it the other day. Do not downplay it. That's the reason why this man does not care about your feelings about this, because you keep on downplaying your own feelings to him. You need to be honest, be upfront. You need to have passion behind what you're saying, because he does not get it. But then she asked him, well, do you see it happening anytime soon? And he literally said, I don't know. Even though that was an elusive answer, I don't know, is a straight up no. That's a no. And when I tell you Clara turned red, baby, she was red. She's gonna blow up on him eventually, like, because she keeps pressing things down further and further, and she claims to be this outspoken person, but the more she pushes her feelings down, she is going to explode on him. She is going to snap. It's not making sense. It's not adding up. There's something missing that we're not getting. What's not clicking? I don't get it. So then we have Virginia and Eric. Virginia sits down with Pastor Cal, and when they talk about their, the problems they're going through in their relationship, she's concerned that he gave her an ultimatum on kids, like either we have kids or I'm gone. And she also has a fear of being pregnant. And I think her fear more so is of being a bad mom, based off of, her relationship with her parents and how she feels like, they messed her up. She doesn't want to mess her kids up. And he said the fact that that's a concern for her means that she will be a good mom. Honestly, I kind of agree with that. I say, because you're concerned about that, you're going to make more of an effort not to make those same mistakes that your parents made. But I also think you need to do the work on yourself first before you have kids, so that you can be your best self, so you can be the best mother that you can be. But you're at a good start by being so self-aware that you want to be a good parent. So Eric meets up with Dr. Pepper, and he has a problem with her taking possession over the dog, and he wants them to do it together, but really he wants to be the one to regulate the dog, therefore regulate her, because he's really talking about her. And then Dr. Pepper was like, well, why do you need to be the dog's dad? If that was her child, you wouldn't be able to just come in and lay down the law. Okay, if this was her child, you wouldn't be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? That's a relationship that you have to develop over time. And, he seemed to understand what she was saying once she said that, so he let it go. He also brought up the fact that, she's really independent and loves to go out, but he wants time with her as well, and that's understandable. Dr. Pepper said he should ask for 1 weekend a month. Her drinking also comes up, and Dr. Pepper made it clear that she thinks it's excessive, and she asked him, well, do you think it's excessive? He thinks it's excessive. I think we all think it's a little bit excessive. So Dr. Pepper thinks that they should curb drinking because all of their blow-ups happen after they drink. And she wants him to be honest, not cruel. Make a suggestion, and I'm adding, make a suggestion, not an order or an ultimatum, okay? Stop the drinking to see if that increases communication. So he confronts her about the alcohol and maybe, you know, not drinking. And she says those arguments would have happened with or without alcohol. He says they shouldn't argue when they are drunk, and she didn't want to even talk about it, y'all. She didn't even want to discuss it further. And see, Virginia, that is where you are immature, because if you cannot give up drinking for like 1 weekend, 2 weekends, that's a problem. It just seems like you have a problem if you just will not give it up, and you already are anxiety ridden. Alcohol does not help that. Drinking alcohol makes anxiety worse, and she just seems to self-medicate with alcohol, and that's not healthy. So she brought up the child ultimatum, and he doesn't want her to use the word, even though that's exactly what it is. What else is, if I don't have a child and I'm leaving, what else is that? That's an ultimatum. And that's how you present it too. So really, you're kind of gaslighting her by telling her to not use the word ultimatum. That's exactly what it is. She said, well, what if I can't bear children? And he claims he won't leave because of that. But he will if she doesn't want to have them. Like, it's not the fact that if you can't have them, it's if you choose not to have them. And he also said that she thinks she'll be a great mom. She starts crying, and then he asked her for, you know, can I have a weekend out of the month? And she said as long as they plan it in advance. And he says you should cancel things for him. And it's like, he does come off as controlling. You know, just overall, he comes off as controlling. But in this case, I could see where he's coming from, because it's like, you know, I should be your first priority at this point. Your friend should not be your first priority. You should be able to say this week or this weekend is for me and my husband. I know we were going to hang out this week. We're going to have to, you know, do this another time. You can do that. You should do that. And honestly, if y'all plan to do this in the long run, y'all should be finding some married people or other couples to hang around with, because it's not fair that you kind of leave your husband as the odd man out, even though he's extremely insecure. You know what I'm saying? I do think, you know, they always say when you get married, you should get married friends, because I do see how someone can feel left out with you always going to hang out with your friends all the time. And then even next week, we're going to see that she doesn't see a problem with her not coming home. Girl, you are married. You can't do that. You can't do that. So we got to see a little bit more of her faults this week. I still think that Eric has his ways. He was just a little bit tamer this week because he didn't want to look so crazy, and he wanted to make her look like, you know, let's shine some more light on her problems this week. So finally, let's get Paige and Chris. Okay, Paige meets up with Dr. Pepper, and Dr. Pepper apologized, as she should. I feel like every single expert should have really apologized to Paige. If anybody deserves an apology this season, it's Paige, and a bonus. She apologized, and she basically said that they were duped as well. You know, he basically presented himself as being a different person during the process, and flipped once he actually, you know, got chosen for the experiment. She said that Paige was a superior human being to Chris, and she called him an extraordinary narcissist. I was like, well, tell us how you really feel, Dr. Pepper. I was not mad. And she said she should not take the trash that comes from him. Paige didn't understand why he didn't close the door to his past before coming into this experiment. And Dr. Pepper asked the question, why did he want her to meet with the mother of his child? Especially since he already told her that he didn't want to be with her. And she said it was to hurt you. No other reason. He wanted to hurt you. And that's what I've been saying this entire time. He loves to cause pain to Paige. He loves to torture her. He loves to, like, twist a knife. He loves to put salt in her wounds. He loves to, I can't come up with enough metaphors. Like, he loves to see her in pain. He loves it. And it's sinister the way he treats her just because he doesn't think she's attractive. And I'm so glad Dr. Pepper was being real with her and telling her, you know, she needs to keep those boundaries up and correct them when, you know, they're being crossed. And not just with Chris, but just in general. Paige, love yourself. You do not deserve a man to treat you this bad and to drag you through the mud. And you sticking around through all of this shows that you are comfortable with that. And why? The other women on this show said as soon as they would have heard about a baby, they would have been gone. Why did you choose to stick around after only knowing this man a week? I don't care if you did sleep with him. You need to, that's the questions you need to ask. Why did I stick around? And explore that with both of your therapists. Because that don't make sense. Next, we move on to Chris. He shows up 40 minutes late to meet up with Pastor Cal. And they didn't even think he was going to show up. He literally showed up at the last minute as they were about to leave. Like, I would have left. I'm not, no. You going to sit up here and make me leave? You wasted my time? Well, guess what? Your time is going to be wasted. But Pastor Cal can't do that because he trying to keep his check. So I understand why he didn't. But if this was real life. And then he gets into this whole diatribe about how he feels like they were matched perfectly on paper, but he thought she was ugly, basically. Y'all, I didn't even want to cover this. I didn't even want to cover this because it's so disgusting the way he spoke about her. It was so disgusting how he was talking to Pastor Cal like all the beautiful black queens, white queens, Hispanic queens in Atlanta. I'm not even picky, but you chose the one ugly person in Atlanta to match me up with. That's basically what he was saying. Like, just constantly going in on her looks. As if, he was reducing Paige down to her looks. As if she had nothing else to offer. As if she's not an accomplished businesswoman. As if she's most likely not worth more than you are. Financially. As if she doesn't have wonderful qualities in a wife that deserved, a good husband. He really sitting up here with his oversized Wayne head. I'm sure find somebody. I'm not picky. Mush mouth. Can barely speak clearly. I don't see how it could be a problem to find somebody. I'm not picky. I'm not picky. I'm not picky. Then how come you couldn't find somebody on your own? If it's that easy to find somebody like that, how come you didn't find that person? Yeah, your ex is beautiful, but you couldn't keep her. I bet you if you had the money you said you had, you could have kept her. Some ain't adding up, Chris. That don't make any sense. How come you couldn't get your own baddie? Since there's so many beautiful, beautiful queens here, how come you couldn't get your own? Best believe, Chris, if you were matched up with your type, it would definitely be a Jamie and Doug situation. Most likely, she would not find you attractive. Okay? And she, unlike you, she wouldn't even lay a finger on you. And she would be very standoffish and not even want to be around you because you have a nasty attitude on top of your looks. And you would have been balled up in the corner crying somewhere because your ego is way too fragile to handle the rejection that you hurl at Paige every chance you get. I really can't believe he thinks he's a catch when he dressed like, either you dress like a toddler or you dress like Steve Harvey. There's no in between. That's your style. Your whole style is toddler or Steve Harvey. And that style doesn't even compliment you because it just make your head look bigger. We know you have a texturizer and you do a blowout and you pick it out. You probably stand in the mirror and pick it out for hours to make it look like that. We know. We know, Chris. We know you're very insecure. And that's why you dog Paige out. Because we know you don't match her when it comes to money. We know you don't match her when it comes to what she actually deserves in a man. So instead of coming to terms with that, you tear her down so you can feel better. Textbook narcissist, just like what Dr. Pepper said. So Pastor Cal chastises him for never giving the marriage a chance. He told him, you have been engaged a couple of times and it never came into fruition. Chris claims to have handled this to the best of his ability. And Pastor Cal was like, how is buying a brand new car for your ex handling this to the best of your ability? He was like, well, she could have came with me. He's living in the same delusion Martell Holt is. If y'all watch Love and Marriage Huntsville, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. He doesn't think he even owes Paige an apology. Of course you don't. Of course you don't. And the craziest part is, he says all this bad stuff about Paige, but he still would love to have her in his harem. He would still keep her around as one of his sister wives. He would love to do that because he needs a punching bag. He loves having a punching bag. Makes him feel good. Chris, you've treated Paige awful this season, and because of it, you will have a downfall. You probably already had it. But you will have a downfall, and I just have a feeling we're all going to be present for it. But anyway, you guys, let me know what you think down below. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? What do you think about this season? I would love to hear your opinion. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one. Peace.